All right, guys, Sam back with you here. We're midday on April 17th. Next up, per our polling amongst the members, is Ethereum to the dollar, also on Bitfinex. So I have up here in front of us now, I've got the 3 hour of Ethereum to the dollar. And since I've been through this so many times, and we've all looked at it, we all know about this from this swing high. Just to quickly reiterate here. So here was the front run on the 618. We've come down to and through target, and it looks like we have the potential now for this correction to be over and a new trend to be underway. So what I'm going to focus on here is now from this swing pivot here, from this high to this low, and then where we are now in terms of the potential for this to be starting a new trend. So I'm just going to zoom in on that. So I'm going to take this little edge right here and come over here, and we'll dig into what we're seeing here now. So let me get this reset. Okay, so the assumption is that we came down here, and you can see why I've labeled this off. So we get a good clean 3, 4, 5. Now we get, just like Bitcoin, we get the truncated fifth, right? It's close, right? But you could certainly call it a double bottom. But we finish in 5, right? Which is the criterion that we would need. We'd anticipate a finish in 5. If we are now going to start a new trend. So if that finishes, whether it's a C wave or a WXY, either way, the finishing in 5 sets up the potential for us to move out of this into what may now be a 1 wave here. So we have an impulsive wave structure here. We don't know if the top is in yet. This is a contender for the 5th, but we don't know for sure that that's complete. So I'm going to go now down to the 1 hour and see if we can build some technical support to this case. So if I zoom in here a little bit, you can see some of the work that I already have on here. So I've got a very strong contender here for a nice clean 1 wave coming out of that low. So if I get right on there, so there's the big reaction, and then, this looks like this chop here. A, B, C, we get a little chop here sideways for our 2 wave before we get another launch up, and we get the impulsive movement here that sets up the potential for another 1, 2, right? So anytime you're coming out of a low, it's the 1, 2s that you're looking for. You need the 1, 2 and then the 1, 2. So if we look now here, so it becomes a question of, okay, well, if that's 1, 2, is this my 3? Is this my 3? Where is my 3? So all we can do is just measure and look for the subdivision to help support our case. So if indeed that's a 1, 2, 3 going up here, well, we can use the statistical evidence and probabilities that we know are characteristic if we have a good Elliott count. So if I just look here and I take the length of my 1 wave and I project it from my proposed 2, and I pull this over here, so I have the 2 here. Well, you can see we've gone just about to the 200%. We're actually a couple of ticks through the 200%. But now note here, we get this. Here's our high probability zone for our 3rd right here. So you might look at that and think, oh, wait a minute, what couldn't this be the 3, 4, and then we're going up into a 5? Well, let's look at that. So if this is a 1, 2, and this is our high probability zone for a 3, that's a candidate. But remember, we're looking for subdivision equally. If this is 1, 2, and this is a 3rd, or we're looking for the subdivision within this 3rd wave that has to be impulsive, right? Per the Elliott rule set that defines how we approach these trending moves. We're looking for that confirmation. So I'm going to just pull this off here since we know that's there, right? So if that's 1, 2, then I need an impulsive wave here to complete my 3rd. So what I can look at here and see, as I just pointed out, we get a 1, 2, then we get another 1, 2. Then it looks like I have the potential here for a 3, 4, 5. So if I take the length of my 1, projected from this proposed 2, take note here, pulling over from my 2. Well, I've got this little cluster here. It looks like we're 2 and through here. We almost get to the 200 again. So for whatever reason, it seems to like the 200 here. So I have the candidate here for a 1, 2, 3 down for the 4, and we go up for the 5. Okay, well, we certainly have all the qualifications, all the subdivision that we'd want to see there. So what additionally can I do? Well, if this is my 2, I certainly want to check the relationship between the 2 to the 3 high, and what do we get? All right, so here's our fourth, the high probability zone for our fourth. Now take note here additionally, as this is always worth noting here when you see this, where we have prior resistance becomes the support, right? You see what I've done there? Just wicked off that high here. Prior resistance becomes the support, sets us up for a 4 right in the pocket of where we would anticipate the 4 between the 23.6 and the 38. That's right where you like it. Add the little kicker here. From prior resistance offering the support, and where do we go? Right to the algo target, reaction. Right, so that's why I would lean into this as my third, given that technical confluence there. This is my 4, so all I've done now is complete my third. Now it looks like I've got an A, B, and potentially, in effect, a double bottom here for my 4. So as I would, with just being consistent, right? So we're going to look at the length of the third, projected from the proposed fourth. So same thing again. We go right into that zone where we would anticipate the 4 between the 23 and the 38. There we go, right into it. Looks like we've got 3-wave subdivision here, although it kind of looks like we've got a bit of a truncated C wave here in that 4, and now we're going up to challenge the 5. Now, is the 5 in? Well, we haven't hit the algo target, so potentially, so that may be in. Maybe we've got more to go here. Nothing says we have to stop here, but we would anticipate a reaction there. So remains to be seen if that's done, if that's a completed 5-wave. Now, if it is completed 5-wave, and the ingredients are there, so let me pull this off. We're now looking for a retracement of the entire move. So we go back to the swing low, if I can get right on there. So we go back to the swing low, we know it. So if that's going to play that way, what we have here setting up is a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me get that. Let's go up to a reasonable degree. So potentially now we'd have this playing as a completed impulsive wave structure to give us a 1-wave. 2-wave we know is between the 50, the odds are, right? Odds are between the 50 and the 618. So we get our high probability zone down here. Now look at this, is also just a huge low volume area here. So what you can anticipate there is the market has not accepted price there. So either it moves through it quickly or it bounces out of it quickly. So I would be teed up here looking for this as my next entry. We have all the ingredients we'd look for. So we have the first move down, then we have potentially, now we don't know yet, but potentially that's our B, and we're looking for a C. So if you look at that structure, that's going to require an extension in the C. So if we just look at that and say, okay, well, if that's my A wave there, and that's my B wave here, let's look how far that's going to need to go. Well, here would be an extreme for the C wave would be the 1618175, just like it commonly found for the third. That would be an extreme. So does that play as a potential? That would be a front run on the 50. You know, we'll see. We don't know that B is in yet. So if we go higher, so all of this moves up a bit. So, but let's just check here. So if I take the length of my A wave, well, what have I done? Right to the golden zone. So now we'd have the first algo target right here from this. So from this golden zone to that algo target is right there. But look how that would play potentially here. That would have us a reaction pivot, if you will. Putting it here, we would not even be to we'd be just beyond the 23. Statistically, that would be unlikely for a second. So we got to look at, perhaps we're going to the second algo target. Well, the second algo target sits here at the 38. So you get the little box right here as a confluence zone. Now we know that occasionally in very strong markets, it's in fact approximately 12% of the time that we'll have a wave 2 will be as shallow as the 38, but it's less likely. So since all we've got to do is work with odds and probability zones and patterns that are prone to repeating, I'd be inclined to wait for more downside here. So a couple of scenarios. Either this is the ABC of the A wave going in. So let's say we do that, right? So you understand what I'm looking at here. So potentially all you have here is the ABC of the A wave relative to this. So if you look and say, okay, well, if that's the algo target there, and we go let's move it over, and we go ABC. I think I was pretty close. Let's get close enough. Okay, so if we go ABC here, you say, well, that can't be the 2 wave. Well, let me rephrase. It's not likely to be the 2 wave at the 23. Now, yeah, you go, okay, the Vegas wave, no doubt. I see it, right? And I always see that, and I always use it. So, but this is where we're looking for. So if that were to come down here and we got a reaction out of that, what that would set up in my mind is that we'd simply have done an A wave here, and this would be, so let me try and recreate. So what we'd have here now is an A wave, B wave, and then a C wave. So I go to a larger degree here. Let's see if I can show you what I'm looking at here and if this makes sense. So that's potentially what we're looking at here. So if we come down here and we pivot here, that potentially sets us up as a 3-wave A. 3, do we get 5? Do we get a 3-3-5? Do we get a 5-3-5? Which, remains to be seen what we're going to get here, but that's a contender here if we pivot and respond to that. Head up here, the potential there sets up for a B wave to in turn then roll over to put us down here. So it's a process of trying to consider how, if we're going to get down here, how are we going to get there? If indeed, and we don't know for sure, but if this is a 1-wave high here, how are we going to get down to the 50? Well, this seems less likely to me because we have to have a pretty substantial sell-off in the C wave here. The symmetry doesn't look right. So we wait and see. So we have the golden zone here. We have the target down here. That all just sets us up for potentially an A wave to a B to a larger. So remember, as it's always waves within waves, as I look at this, if this pivot holds, and this is a good top here as a potential 1 wave here, and again, that's unconfirmed. We need to start moving further away from it. But if we get that, then I'm just down here waiting for the 50. I'm just waiting for this zone and trying to ascertain how we're going to get there. What would be most likely, right? Can we get any help from the oscillators? Well, we got pretty substantial divergence here, right? So we can see we get the new high here, and we get this back here. Now we get pretty substantial, come here, divergence from here to here, right? Do we see that? So if I line that up, do you see that? That's pretty substantial divergence, which would imply potentially now we do have our 5th in here. It's short, but it's a 5th relative to this completing as a 1 wave. Right? So if we get this push down here, I would propose to you look for that as the A wave. Look for a reaction off of that, right? Off of that algo target. Reaction up for the B sets it up for the C. All right, then we can start doing some more projecting based on that. But right now, so none of this, these would all be, if this is going to play, if we're going to get this roadmap, this is all going to be much, much higher. So we're putting, so if I think about that just in terms of if we were to get here, so we know the 1618 would be very close to the negative 100. So we're going up, there's 700 for the wave 3 target. As we sit down here at 500, buy zone is down here between 450 and 430. So with that as your target, there's your wave 3 target coming out of this zone. If we can get this to play, that's a nice looking trade right there. So that's textbook Elliott. Right? If we get it, right? We don't know that we will. But if we do, so there's the 1, there's the buy in the 2 zone. Here's the target. See, now this ABC has better symmetry. You can see how that potentially plays to that scale where we can see, oh, I get it. 1, 2, up for the 3, down for the 4, then we're up for the 5, and we're clearly establishing a new trend. Right now it's just all potential, But here's the buy zone. There's really nothing to do unless you're a short seller, until we see what kind of reaction we get here. Do we get the rollover here at the B? Remember, a B wave is always a push to try and get to new highs, and it could happen. I think it's unlikely, but it's possible, right? And the other scenario here is that the 1 is not complete. So here's the alternate, right? You have to consider is that I'm wrong here, and that this 3 is going in here. We get a 4th here. We push up here. Now we relabel. Do you see how that you're just going to go with the flow here? So if this pivots and turns here, and we break this, we get a push up to a 5th. Well, then we can look at that and say, okay, well, this analysis was incorrect, and all we were putting in here was not the 5th. Excuse me, not the 5th of the 3rd. This all rolls up, so that goes 3. All right, that would be our 4. So we'd have 4. So this would go over here. So we'd have the 3. So now we have 1, 2, 3 coming down for the 4. So if you're an Uber bull, right? Then your target is your buy zone is in here. That actually is a reasonable count. Just out of curiosity, let's check it in terms of how extreme it would be relative to that is the 3. So again, all I'm doing is projecting from the 1 to the proposed 2. If I look over here, well, so this as the third, we'd be a little shy here. So we'd be in between the 200 and the 216 for this is my third, right? So, you know, it remains to be seen that all of the subdivision would still play just as well. So it's a question of what happens here. Ultimately, for longer term plays and for swing traders, all we're trying to do is get the 2. That's the big money trade, to get the 3 of the 3. Can we get, if and when, if this is the 1, we're waiting. If we get the push higher here, right, and there will be some who will disagree with my count and look at it and say, oh, no, that's the 4 just going in, and it may well be. May well be. Right, we go up and then we get the 1 and then we wait. Then we wait for that to top and then we would change the whole thing, right? Then we go up to here and then our buy zone moves up and then it's the 50 to the 618 and now our buy zone has moved a tad. There's that. All right, now we have this as a scenario. We just get more strength and then the whole thing moves up. Now 3 target goes up here. 5 target goes beyond, 4 target goes over. So now we're playing for that. Right? So all of this very bullish, potentially setting up for Ethereum as a new trend. It's just right now trying to get a handle on where we are. Do we have the 3 in yet? Is the 3 over here? Too soon to tell. So you watch and wait and you look for probabilities and opportunities where you can get in the market with reasonable risk reward, knowing exactly where you're going to get out, being disciplined about your stop and your money management, and then looking for those high probability setups. Right? But all very encouraging. All these scenarios are very bullish. Just a question of, you know, where do we enter the market? All right, guys, I'll wrap it there.